Good morning, afternoon, and evening. Welcome back to the Liberal Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Bodio, and with me I have Kaylie Horowitz.
Well, hello there.
And Andy Gibby Gibson.
Reunited and it feels so good.
The trio, we're back.
Summer vacation is over, children.
School's back in session, kids.
We're going to school.
School? I thought we were going to the mines.
No, only Gibby goes to the mines.
As soon as the episode's over, I gotta clock in with my shift. Can't you see my pitchfork in the back?
You do look very dapper with your little miner's helmet, I will say.
I have to point out that you don't use a pitchfork in a mine.
No. Let him see how far he gets. I want to see what happens.
You are thinking pickaxe, not pitchfork.
Oh my god. Can you tell it's late tonight?
Yeah, no.
But I can't blame that on that because I still would have made that mistake anyway.
Yeah, a little liberal artist after dark.
What is the most impractical thing you could bring to a mine?
The will to live.
I was going to say probably a way to navigate using the stars. I don't think that's going to be... What is that called? A sextant?
Yes.
Gross, Gibby. This is a Christian podcast. How dare you?
I think you know well and good it isn't.
I don't know how to tell you this.
Having edited the last 75 plus episodes of this godforsaken show filled with debauchery and sin, you know that God forgot about this show as soon as we started talking about fan fiction.
Yeah, maybe in hindsight that was a bad choice for episode 2, but...
Three, we got Wonder Woman in first.
3, that's right. Take that, God.
God took a look down at us from his heaven and said, I guess I do make mistakes occasionally. Not this one. This one doesn't belong to me. Satan, this one's on you.
See, we're just like constantly 2 steps away from giving me the perfect open to talk about Has-Been Hotel.
No.
But because Bo is my friend, I'm respecting his decision not to get dragged into that fresh hell.
I do want to bring up just real quick. Kaylie asked me the other day as part of a session of Truth or Dare while we were playing Left 4 Dead 2, what would my one banned topic from the show be? And I stood my ground that any more discussion about Kingdom Hearts will not be allowed on these grounds. That's my line in the sand. You've got Has-Been Hotel, it seems, would be your number one bannable topic, unless there's something more evil lurking in the background.
So join us on the next episode where I live make Gibby play Kingdom Hearts 3.
I swear to Christ.
You can't even give him 2 to start with just to actually be kind.
No.
You get the bad one.
We get the one that we thought was going to end everything, and I thought I would be safe from it, and then it wasn't.
And then it wasn't, and then they kept going.
So Kaylie, we've laid down our bannable topics. What is your no? We will never go there on the show.
I don't know if I can think of it specifically off the top of my head, because I know we've done wrestling. I don't care much about because I don't watch it, but I'm not how dare you talk about that? I don't think I feel that strongly.
Okay.
I think, and I wouldn't know for certain which one, but I feel like it would have to be one of these I'm about to be ousted from my own friend group, but shonen ass anime, Dragon Ball Z, One Piece kind of shit. I know. Maybe Bleach, maybe, and I like Bleach, but I don't know if I'd want to do an entire episode trying to deep dive that shit, you know?
Deep dive into the nonsense episodes of Bleach.
Yeah, that's...
Remember that time they turned that one guy's sword into a lady? That was crazy.
I think that it is just a general for me of just I don't mind long anime that go somewhere. JoJo's is long, but we're doing something new / related every season.
Sure. Versus
your shonen jump shonens. The formula is we just keep going. there's a big plot and we know what we're building to, but we gotta stretch this out for as long as we can, baby.
You heard it here first. Kaylie hates Dragon Ball, which has also made her an enemy of the state of the country of Mexico.
The state of the country, of the township, of the city-state, of the citizenry.
The entire country of Mexico just turned their eyes to Kaylie Horowitz and was just like, no.
And whatever little plot of land belongs to the Pirate Cove Jared has turned his backyard into. I'm also banned
Shout
from
outs
there
to
now.
Jared.
I think that's just Florida. Like, I think
Yeah.
that's just average Floridian stuff, but
Being banned about Dragon Ball Z or having a Pirate Cove, which one is
Yes.
average?
yes. Damn it, Bo got it in first.
That's
There
what
you have
she
it.
said. Actually, wait,
all right,
no.
let's end the episode.
Okay, no, I just have one
Nope,
stupid
nope,
thing I
nope,
need to
nope,
address
nope.
from Twitter.
In the year of our Lord 2024, you desecrated what was already unholy, and I cannot forgive.
Okay.
What's your Twitter bit?
So
Kaylee?
I've seen this go around, and I don't know if this is because I'm in Buffalo or other people are also seeing this, but there's a new billboard that's gone up for Gatorade with Josh Allen, everybody's favorite quarterback up here in West New York.
The very tall, fast boy.
He is a very tall, fast boy, and he seems nice. It's Gatorade ad, and it's got the he's just standing there, staring directly into the camera, and there's like sweat dripping down his face, and one of the sweat beads is like blue, like the Gatorade, and it. But something about his expression, like I've seen this was posted on Twitter, and then I saw the billboard the other day. His expression looks kind of pained or like strained. And the caption for this Gatorade, referring, of course, to the drink because it is being sweated through his pores. The caption on this billboard just says, "Is it in you?" Question mark.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm looking at this billboard right now. It's just on the side of a building. Which is hilarious.
It's right outside of it is right outside of my office. I have to look at this every day now when I leave work.
He just looks like he's staring into the depths of your soul.
But like Twitter went nuts going like, dick jokes galore. But like
Wait, has Twitter never heard the Gatorade slogan before? They've been saying that for like 30 years.
But I think
Do you
this
think they
one's
go
finally
outside?
like this one I think is kind of like really like relaunched it. I get just because this man, Josh, I'm so sorry, man. You look like you are in distress, like something is shoved in a place it should not be.
Yikers!
And the caption is not helping it.
It's like a horror movie. It's like, is it in you?
So is Josh Allen invited to the podcast, Kaylee? Is that
Kaylee's.
somebody
I-
your
you
Buffalo
know-
contacts can get?
Whoa, that'd be kind of cool. I don't know. It's the I have so few like immediate impressions of Josh Allen other than whoever gets to come on the podcast is whoever the guy is that's running the Bills social media. You are a mad lad and a meme lord, and I want to hang out with you.
There it is.
Josh,
so not Josh.
You can bring Josh if he's free. If his mom says he can come over, he can come hang out.
No. Josh has to win a Super Bowl first, and then he
Yeah.
can. Look, we're pretty high up on the podcast list, man. We can't just have anybody.
We can't just get anyone here.
Yeah.
And me and Gibby
Come on,
invited J.K. Simmons, so like,
We may have.
if you're not that cool.
Only if he plays Street Fighter, though.
Only Street Fighter.
Yeah, Mr. Allen, he just has sad eyes.
Right. He's a
We're-
sweet boy.
J.K. Simmons is gonna contact us, and he's gonna be like, "Well, can we play Tekken instead?" And we're just gonna be
Yes.
like, "Sorry,
Yeah.
no, man. We
No,
were
fuck
very
you.
clear."
I would like to play Tekken more. That's my game, dude. Whatever Mr. Simmons wants.
What if Simmons tried to come on and he's like, "Well, I only play Clay Fighter 64."
Bo's conflicted. This is not a visual medium, listeners, and Bo is conflicted.
The amount of like cringing facial expressions we've had over the last 10 minutes or so that are going to be lost to the sands of time because we don't record the video of this is truly heartbreaking.
All right, fuck it. Everybody get your asses in seats. We're going to
Okay.
class.
Speaking of sands of time, how about
Nope, that doesn't work.
Sands of Twain?
No, that doesn't work.
You're on a fucking tear today, Kaylie, and I'm scared.
That was the worst.
Oh god.
Insert Bodio's line of, and this is why we pay her the big bucks for these transitions.
Oh boy.
Where do I even go from this, dude? The Adventures of Mark Twain.
Flash of comet fire coming to find you, almost blinded by the light.
Not Tom Sawyer, not Huck Finn. The Adventures of Mark Twain.
The guy who wrote both of those books, allegedly. The Adventures of Mark Twain is a British movie from the 80s, 1985. And we watched it, and we have thoughts. So this movie is kind of viral because of one scene, or one act in particular, that we'll get to. But I will state that I have learned more about Mark Twain in the last week than I ever did in school.
Which is wild because he's a pretty pivotal figure in American literature.
Let alone the American South. And
Yeah, well,
literature.
what you have to remember, or what you have to know about me, there was a time when I went to Christian school. I went to a Presbyterian school.
Aha.
And yep, Mr. Twain had opinions about the American church that I hold true to now, but
Yeah.
my teachers didn't. But
yeah, shocking.
Shocker.
I'm about to monologue. We definitely read, I think it was Huck Finn. We read Huck Finn. This was 8th grade. This is my first year in this private school. If you don't know a lot about Alabama, or if you don't know a lot about private schools in general, a lot of them are what are colloquially referred to as white flight schools. So a lot of schools opened up in the 1960s and 80s for the same reason that the state of Washington exists. White people running away from black people. It's fun. American history. You love to see it.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
It's a good thing we don't have to worry about charter schools and private schools and underfunded public schools anymore, right?
No, they deserve government money.
Have we got a show for you?
But I was one of 2 black people in this school, but I was the scary boy from the hood. I came from Opelika.
My God.
So we're talking fresh in there. Folks don't really trust me yet. And it was the 2 black folks in the room were me and my buddy Josh. And we're reading Huck Finn, and of course, Huck's friend is a guy named Jim. First name, not gonna say it right now. It was different times. I just remember us reading out loud Huck Finn, and I don't know what my teacher was thinking. But we're reading it, I'm barely paying attention. We get to Jim, and the room goes silent. And I look up. All eyes in the classroom are on me.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like me specifically. I look at my buddy Josh, he's sitting in front of me, and he just kind of shrugs.
See, I want this redrawn like the Bart meme, like where they all turn around and look at him and they go, say it, Bart, say the
Say
phrase.
the line.
Jesus.
No.
We decided we were just gonna call him Jim.
Yeah.
And skip the word.
So there's a reason he's called Big Jim in the musical then.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
That before we watched this movie, that was the extent of my knowledge of Mr. Twain. How about you guys?
Truly, the American high school, no, the American middle school, you were dead right. The American middle school experience is uncomfortably talking about race because your English teacher does not know how to address the N-word in the texts of Mark Twain. That is the pivotal American middle school experience. We read Huck Finn in ninth grade for American Lit. I think we had read some of his short stories, though, in, like, 7th grade, like, with kind of just, like middle school English sort of stuff. But yeah, other than like coming back to him again in like APUS and being like, yeah, and he was a cool dude. And like he obviously is a prolific writer, but he was also putty and quite outspoken in like political kind of statement and or like opinions on culture, religion, etc. within the United States. Like, he was a little shit, and he was good at working that into his writing as commentary. So that was what I remember most from like 10th or 11th grade.
So what's super interesting about Mark Twain is he kind of invented American pop culture. So one of the things he did, he invented subscription models, which again, have no idea how that turned out.
Are you telling me that Mark Twain is the reason I don't own anything anymore?
I mean, kind of.
Damn it,
Mark. Damn it, Mark. Get the J.K. Simmons line in there. Sorry.
He sold a lot of his stories by going directly to the people, to having salesmen go door to door saying, "Hey, buy this monthly magazine, pay us a couple dollars and we'll deliver it straight to your door." And a lot of his stories were in there. He was one of the first people who was famous just because he was famous. When he got older, that's when he started wearing the trademark big hair, white suit with a black tie. Not because he thought it was fashionable, I'm sure he did, but because that was his character. Mark Twain, not even his real name.
No.
Not his second name either. His real name is Samuel Clemens from Florida, Missouri.
Woohoo.
Wait, he's from Florida, Missouri?
Florida, Missouri.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
Right? Because we just named a city a different state. Because I guess Mizzou was like, yeah, we have Florida. It's better.
It's Florida, too.
We have a Paris, New York, Paris, Maine. My favorite is still we have China, Maine.
Beautiful.
Right?
Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Nothing matters.
Why not?
Names don't mean anything.
Naming stuff is hard, and we'll just use the ones that already exist.
Why do you think there's 20 Springfields and like 10 Auburns out there?
Can I read you all a list of Mark Twain's pen names before he landed on Mark Twain?
I think you should.
Yes.
So we have Grumbler. Not the Grumbler, just Grumbler. I know, we're starting strong.
That is
Hell
the
yeah.
most non-binary mask fucking name I've ever heard in my life. I'm sorry, Samuel.
Non-binary small bean from 1860.
Grumbler? What?
Get out of here, Flower. Get out of here, Whisk. We're here for Grumbler.
Never call me a gremlin again. I am a grumbler.
Grumbler is like so much more threatening to you, but in like a PG way.
We got Grumbler. We got Rambler.
It's me and Ian.
We got Josh.
Josh?
Just Josh.
Just Josh.
John Snooks.
That wasn't your best work, Mark.
Sergeant Fathom.
Okay, that is just like a 1970s jam band.
That's one of Ian's characters in Monster of the Week.
Jefferson Snodgrass.
I have heard that one before.
Snodgrass?
Yes. Snodgrass.
Jefferson Snodgrass. And pardon me, this one is a little difficult. W. Epaminondas Adrastus Perkins.
All right, you're just showing off.
And W. Epaminondas Blab.
God,
And then he finally landed on Mark Twain.
Yeah.
After all that.
Yeah.
Okay, that works.
That one, the normal one.
The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by
By Grumbler.
I'm gonna tack to Bo's earlier statement of if Mark Twain can invent the subscription model, but he also invented contemporary shit posting because
really
god damn, I rip Mark Twain, you would have loved Twitter.
But no, imagine you're out in the old west, right?
Yeah.
It's gold rush. It's early 1800s, mid 1800s.
mid 1800s.
Yeah.
You're reading a newspaper and you hear this exaggerated story about what happened in DC and it's signed Grumbler.
Honestly,
But I don't know if this guy is telling the truth, to be honest.
honestly, ideal like gossip column like editor right there.
XOXO Grumbler.
Here's the dirty deeds on what's going on in DC by the Grumbler.
Not
I was gonna say
You're right. It's too formal.
Grumbler.
Eh,
It's a radio host name. It's
Yeah.
like so and so and so and so in the morning.
yeah.
Grumbler and Rambler in the morning.
Grumbler and Josh in the morning.
I want an all Mark Twain Tumblr called Grumbler. That's all I want now.
Stop. That's great. I love that.
It's so fucking stupid. Don't give me that credit.
all of the themes for your dash are various landscapes of the Mississippi swampland.
Yeah.
My God. Okay.
But this guy kind of ran the gamut, ran the Grumbler before he landed on writing. He grew up poor in Missouri in the 1800s. He worked at a printing press. He then served on a steamboat in the Mississippi. He kind of joined the Confederacy in quotations, ran away before they got into a fight, worked at a newspaper in the Old West. Somebody challenged him to a duel. He was like, all right, bet. He found out the guy was a good shot, so he ran away to San Francisco. He's just like
Same.
me, for real, for real.
This guy's just like me for real.
There's a reason he went by Grumbler, not Rumbler.
I'm a grumbler, not a fighter. But then he outspoke. He was like, yo, we treat Chinese people the wrong way out here. And then people got mad at him again. So he ran to Hawaii this time.
Oh, I didn't
What?
know.
Yeah, he lived in Hawaii for the first
I love
for
how
a
he
little
just
bit.
keeps going further west.
Right. Eventually came back, got married, and then he started writing. Mark Twain is somehow the 1800s convergence of Mark Cuban, Kim Kardashian, and Shaq.
Your starting center for the Los Angeles Lakers, Grumbler.
Because again, he was the first pop culture icon.
Yeah.
Known the worldwide. He was famous for being famous, but he also wrote. He also was a prolific writer later in his life. And also he invested in wacky shit. He just loved being like, "Oh, this will be sweet." He invested in a printing press that would break down 30 minutes before they had to show it to anybody. He invested.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, he wanted the first phone. He got the first working telephone, but refused to invest in it. Not because he didn't think it was going to be successful, but just because he thought it was neat and he only wanted the one.
Okay, sure.
Right. He went bankrupt, then went on a world tour and got his money back. He's a dude was wild.
I mean, he's just.
I think you need to
Wow.
you need to throw into your celebrity mix there like some combination of fucking Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk in there.
None of his
Just, like,
inventions were successful.
like,
Don't get into his.
my guy, hello.
He sounds like the American version of Charles Dickens if he just like mixed in with some Chuck Norris jokes in there.
Yeah.
Or like Bill Murray stories is a better comparison, I suppose.
See, now I just want the Mark Twain Teddy Roosevelt crossover. Like,
they were around at the same time.
Well, that's the thing. Like the plays that take two historical figures and use them as characters. That like, oh, what happened the one night that so and so met so and so. I want that play.
Ship them.
Oh,
Dude, I'm sure Roosevelt hated Mark Twain.
No.
Mark Twain was a hillbilly with a turn of phrase who was like, hey, government is stupid.
better yet, then if not Teddy, Mark Twain and Alice Roosevelt. I want these two chaotic motherfuckers in the same room. They will tear down that country in less than 20 minutes.
Those are two
What could have
hellions
been.
right there. I dig
exactly. I can either run the country or mind Alice. I can't do both.
But the movie.
Anyway,
We were talking about Mark Twain. We could do an entire podcast episode about Mark Twain. He's
We said we
fucking
were
awesome.
gonna learn you good, and
Yeah.
there you go.
He sounds like a fun dude. This is a movie that kind of fantasizes the last days of Mark Twain. He was coincidentally born the same year Halley's Comet passed America. Zooms by every 25 years, and then he kind of famously died the day after it came back when he was 75.
honestly, how do you expect this man to have not pulled all this chaotic ass shit that he did and not realize that, like, this kid's gonna have fucking main character energy?
Right.
You know?
The Adventures of Mark Twain, work of claymation, romanticizes the last day or so of Mark Twain's life in this weird world where some of his writings actually exist in the same reality as he does, but also some of them are in different realities. But he makes a flying machine where they can jump to some of those realities, but others of those realities are just being read as storybooks. It's a wild ride, man.
It's the 80s. We don't need to think all the logic through.
Yeah. I don't quite know what to think about this movie in general, and what do y'all think?
It's a strange one. You're right about that, because a lot of the time that I was watching it, I would think to myself, why have we stopped here at this anecdote for so long? And I think part of it is to, pay tribute to the many works of Mark Twain. But occasionally I get to a point where it's like minute 6 of the jumping frog story, and I go, oh, they're just padding out the time right now, like you
We gotta
did.
pad out that runtime.
Like they did in the 70s and 80s with animation and claymation, where it was like, let's say the same thing to each other a couple of times so that we don't have to animate this again. So it's a weirdly paced movie where it's like set up for a scene or something to come later, and then anecdote, set up for a later thing, anecdote, and then like payoff from it. It's strange, but I guess it's not that strange considering a lot of children's media. Although it sounds like, based on what I read, the creators weren't exactly intending for it to be like billed as children's media, but then there was some sort of mix up with the studio, and then they were like, fuck it, it's a matinee now. I give
Oh
up.
no.
And it was more targeted towards, middle school, high school, college age kids. Which is why I think that's why they kind of took more liberties with the weirdness of it. It's not like some Wallace and Gromit shit. You know what I mean?
Well, and what studio was it that did the production for this? Because on first glance, it looks like Rankin Bass, like the folks that do all the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, like Christmas movie stuff, and their claymation and puppetry.
Will Vinton Productions and Harbortown Films.
Because you said this is a British production, so Aardman Animation, which does famously with this kind of soft clay look, Wallace and Gromit, Shaun the Sheep, but that's where I was like, I wonder if these are folks that either did work with Aardman for a while and split off, or if they just were their own thing and were looking to some of the more successful stop motion animation companies at the time.
Well, I was going to say that you probably won't recognize anything that they've done. And then I see there's some of the guys that worked on the early Noid commercials for Domino's
Oh
Pizza.
my god, the Noid!
That's crazy.
Additionally, Will Vinton worked on some fucked up wild shit like Return to Oz, the scary Wizard of Oz movie.
I've never
Yeah.
seen that.
And also
He worked on Captain EO.
Yeah, he worked on Michael Jackson's Moonwalker as well. So
Ooh.
you never know. And
Classic.
also the California Raisin Show.
Oh my god.
Sure.
Yeah, no, okay, now that I'm thinking of that animation style versus this, yeah, no wonder I felt mildly uncomfortable the entire time.
The CRU is a very rich universe with lots of lore.
So now there's like the degrees from Kevin Bacon thing. There's 1 degree away from the Noid to Mark Twain.
You gotta avoid the Noid, man. But you can only avoid him for so many degrees.
That fact hurts my brain.
Run, Josh, run.
But speaking on the animation, yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's kind of wacky. I think I appreciate stop motion and claymation so much because it took them 3 years to make this thing.
Oh yeah, and you see all the little micro expressions
Yeah.
and the little tiny shifts that you don't have to do, but I kept noticing how many little pieces constantly moved. All of the like pinching facial expressions and all
Oh,
of those
yeah.
lines that have to be taken care, like whenever you're raising the brows or puffing the cheeks or anything like that. It's like there is so much like over expressiveness happening here.
There's much more life to the animation than something that would have come out, 10, 15 years before this came out. Like compare the Rankin and Bass early stuff of Rudolph to something like this, where instead of just like, I'm blankly staring at something, and now somebody poured a droplet of water on me to indicate I'm
Right.
sad. Like this has much more, exactly what you were talking about, like elasticity with the faces. Obviously, it's not going to be like Studio Leica level of modern day, but it's for what it was. I was impressed while I was watching it.
I will say, I was definitely impressed because again, it's so much work and effort, and 3 years to make this does not surprise me at all. It just, I don't know if it's the stylization or just the proportions. I'm not a fan of how, like, what this style is, and it reads very late 70s, so I get it. But it's the human faces and the human characters irk me of just this level of like uncanniness. However, on the elasticity, I love that for the weird fucking Satan death sequence thing. It's trippy and scary as hell, but I really love that like fluid change that just kind of starts happening. That it is actually quite nice and almost seamless for that kind of work.
You know why there's an uncanny valley for you, Kaylee? Because a lot of these fuckers don't have eyebrows.
That makes sense.
They just have ridges and like skin where the eyebrows would be. And
Eyebrows are expensive and hard to animate.
And this is where I'd put my eyebrows if I had them.
Yes.
We went around it, but this movie mostly accents Mark Twain's lesser known body of works. The celebrated Jumping Frog of Calaveras County. I have to do my on the Mississippi voice whenever I read some of these.
Absolutely, you do.
That was actually Mark Twain's first popular short story. That was his first. That was when he went viral. It was the first one to do numbers.
Frogs going viral in the 1800s versus now.
America
Nothing
never
has
changes.
changed.
We're still here, baby.
I'm just going to keep the Mark Twain meme lord Twitter connection running as long as I can this episode.
Oh Lord, he coming. It's that boy.
Oh shit, he can't hop.
They spend a lot of time on two different books, Eve's Diary and Extracts from Adam's Diary. They spend a weird amount of time on those two, to Gibby's point.
And a lot of slapstick.
And a lot of slapstick. Captain Stormfield's visit to heaven. Californian sailor who dies but ends up dicking around and going to the wrong heaven. So he ends up like running around all different kinds of heavens, seeing aliens and shit, even though they only focus on the one because they're like, oh man, this one was goofy. And then the scene.
Oh boy.
Comes from a book that Twain never finished before he passed. The Mysterious Stranger?
Yep.
So Gibby, walk us through this scene.
Whew. Well, if you've ever watched anything animated on YouTube before, you've probably seen that this clip was recommended as creepy 1980s animation inside of your algorithm. In essence, there is a bizarre looking figure with a drama mask for a face and no head that welcomes the children into the story. And he introduces himself by saying, I am Satan. And the kids are like, sure, let's go along with this. That's a perfectly normal name for someone to have. He essentially describes how humanity is a curiosity to him, but in the end, they only disappoint him. And he demonstrates this using tiny rudimentary clay figures that begin to create civilizations and castles and kings and all, and then slowly turn on each other as he says that this is purely their nature and there is no survival. And you get to see his frustration with them as he summons an earthquake, starts to squish all of these tiny clay people, making them die horrible deaths for a good 2 or 3 minutes or so, and then suddenly it's over. And we don't talk about it again. It just comes and it goes, and I don't know. I just had to sit there and think for a second, not because I was like, damn, I've never heard that before, but more so, I've never seen so much claymation murder before.
Right? I've never seen this much clay murdered brutally, even in Robot Chicken.
But I think it's interesting that they took that story specifically, right? Because they made this stuff. They knew it was going to be scary.
Yeah.
It's interesting to look at an artist and they have this body of work, and a lot of it is about being free and about the adventures of some dirtbag kids. But I feel like it's so difficult, especially when we have these people we want to elevate, these people we want to seek in a really high reverence. When we look at the darker side of maybe some of their works, something they wrote when they weren't in the best space in life, or something they wrote to really, really challenge people, is always, I'm not going to use the word fun.
Yeah.
But
it's insightful.
Yes. It's very insightful. They kind of do this with yin yang thing with Mark Twain. We have Mark Twain in a white suit and Mark Twain in a black suit, who we find out is like sabotaging the ship and manipulating it and causing chaos. And that's kind of like the darkness that Twain had. Yes, this dude was awesome and he was a meme lord and all that stuff. Obviously, he's still a person and people are.
Yeah.
Freaking complicated. The story he always told about where he got his pen name was when he worked on the Mississippi. Mark Twain would be a call out that you do. It's like, hey, where I believe it's 24 feet from the coast, Mark Twain port or whatever. The kids also reference that in the movie when they're jumping on Haley's comet. That's why when they start saying his name over and over again, Mark Twain, because it's like they're on a riverboat in the Mississippi. What a lot of people actually think is that's how he ordered drinks at a bar. No, because they'd say he'd come in and instead of saying put it on my tab, I want 2 shots, it's Mark Twain. He was kind of famously an alcoholic.
As many writers we love are.
Like I said, he went bankrupt because he was always was a frivolous spender, trying to go into like these
Really?
And-
The man in the crisp, clean white linen suit in the South was a big spender. Shocker.
He was always investing in these weird inventions, right? He while talked about, he kind of had the issue of a lot of people who see a lot of financial success, especially when they come up like in the writing or the critique space. It's like, I don't like the upper class. I don't really enjoy how they treat people, but I also am one of them. I'm still going to build this opulent house in Connecticut where me and my family are going to live, right? When he wrote The Mysterious Stranger, again, he went bankrupt and he went on a world tour in order to get that money back. He was gone for about a year. His wife died.
Damn.
When he was out.
Mm.
Right. So when he was writing that book, when he was there, he was definitely like in a darker space in that time, right?
Yes.
And I like this movie because it has a fascinating take on not the plot twist yin yang, I'm the black hat, I'm the white hat, Mark Twain. But that piece specifically, going into that piece and like exploring it, because it's an unfinished piece. We don't know how that story ends.
Yeah.
We have an idea. He made an angel, named him Satan, and he doesn't have a lot of contempt, or he has a lot of contempt for life. But I think it's super interesting to say, hey, this is part of that guy's body of work. And I like learning stuff.
Rip Mark Twain. You would have loved the existential nihilist and absurdist writers and playwrights of like the 30s through the 50s.
He really would have. I feel like modern day Mark Twain would have been kind of like Stephen Colbert, the Colbert Report.
Oh my God, please.
He's making fun of people, but then a lot of people who like actually think those things, he'd be like, yeah, he's one of us. And it's like, I think you guys are missing the joke.
Oh. That's something that I did want to mention. Like, I definitely there were actually a number of his texts that like as an adult I've been like, I should actually go back and read like a lot of these, because we are just sort of shoved like Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn like first and foremost, and maybe like depending on what kind of school or program or focus you're in, you'll get a chance to like have an excuse to read the short stories or some of them. But one of the things that had been on my list was the diaries of Adam and Eve, because one of the things that's most notable about his work, aside from being kind of the like, yeah, the South's grandpa, and like, here's some fables and lessons in stories, but also, I hate organized religion, and I'm going to criticize the shit out of it and what it has done to this country, but I can't let them know that I'm actually that mad at them, or that this is a direct problem they actually could fix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, like the way that it is like written in as such that it can pass just so that the people who get it see it, and those who aren't think it's high praise and what have you. Just some nice fluff talking about God or something.
Mark Twain, what a queen. What an icon.
Honestly, yeah, I don't know if I have like many thoughts on the movie itself, which is, well, it's the movie is telling short stories to the greater weird 80s movie sci-fi narrative of Mark Twain has an airship and he's going to join Halley's Comet. Is that the explanation you wanted? Because that still doesn't make a lick of sense. So in the meantime, while that's going on, here's some short story samplings of his body of work.
By the way, he broke the Sphinx's nose. I don't know if you knew that, but
It's like Sherman and Peabody. It's like that.
Yeah.
Did you know that he did this? What?
Why? What? Huh?
Why
That's
not?
not even the same time frame. What do you mean?
I do want to, I guess, like in wrap-ups, mention though that there has this idea, this eternal idea though of Twain as the riverboat captain, like this older gentleman, frazzled hair, a witty, like sharp comment at the ready, but like soft expression. That quintessential Twain as a figure and legend of Americana, piloting a ship, piloting a riverboat. Because this is a trope that I feel like keeps getting used, and I don't know what to call it other than like Grandpa Twain sort of thing. because you have like this, you have Doc Brown, you have even fucking We're Back, the dinosaur movie made by Don Bluth and like his or Amblin Entertainment. That's what that is like a Mark Twain-esque old man with a time machine in that one.
I mean,
like, what is it? Which came first, this trope or Mark Twain pioneering his image as like a America's celebrity, and now we just have this in our brains?
I mean, we have a title for it.
Oh.
It's the Grumbler.
There you go.
And that's been this episode of the Liberal Artist Podcast. Thank you so much for being with us, hanging out. Go watch Adventures of Mark Twain and then get yourself learned, baby. It's fall, school time.
It's also free.
Yeah, that is, we did not mention that. It's free. Go watch it. It is some fun little animation history. Like, sometimes, if you have no idea what's happening sometimes, just watch the pretty colors. Just watch all those like frame by frame animation sequences. It's great.
Get your ass educated. Follow us on Instagram at LibArtistPod. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, the whole 9. Y'all know what it is. Join us next time when we all make gender neutral pen names for ourselves.
Dibs on Yapper.
Yapper. Peace.
The Liberal Artists Podcast premieres every other Thursday on your favorite podcasting platform. The show is hosted by Bodio, Kaylie Horowitz, and Andy Gibson. You can find the show at LibArtistsPod on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks to White Hot for performing the theme song Reflect, which can be found on freebeats.io. Now, I'm off to go exploring, and maybe, just maybe, I'll find a sheep that I can call my own. Good day.
Would party with Mark Twain in a heartbeat.
Would party with Mark Twain more so than J.R.R. Tolkien? J.R.R. Tolkien? Did I just combine a bunch of people?
No. Yeah, yes, it's George R.R. Martin, J.R. Tolkien.
I can't
Tolkien.
remember anymore.
There's too many writers.
Josh.
Stop.
Just Josh.
The Adventures of Mark Twain, movie that came out in the 80s.